Hey there, this is Roberto from Rad Performance over here in Florida. As a profession, I'm actually a heavy equipment / truck mechanic. My specialty there was emissions diagnostics. As I got older, I went to Japan for the first time and I go, whoa, there's all these cars that I like, but the steering wheel's on the other side, you know? And like, you know, whatever 20-year-old me was like, that's cool, we should get those, right? So I look into it, I start bringing cars in. Z's, Skylines, started popping up the hood, and you know, the blue vacuum lines and the what we call like the garden hose breathers for the PCV and all that stuff. I knew it was like stupid, but like I thought it was cool stupid. I just fell in love with that. So I just like that JDM. I call it the JDM razzle dazzle. I know it sounds stupid, but those are the terms I use for things. All our cars, I kind of try to reproduce that with modern technology, modern performance, modern like no compromises. Everything has to work, but it has to have that funky razzle dazzle, you know? So the hobby was building, you know, these cool cars. We'll always pick the Japanese part because there's no difference to it. So it'll always be a Greddy or an HKS field roll. Why? Because that's our style. HKS, we actually became a pro dealer this year. Most things visual that you see in our builds are gonna be everything HKS. Pretty much every car here is gonna have a V-cam. We do like all of the HKS cams. Normally our bottom ends consist of Nitto. Head-wise, we are currently working with Faria a lot. They made some really cool valves for us. It's looks first, I guess. And then in the background, everything has to work perfectly. We use a ton of PRP parts. I mean, the only one you really see would be like a trigger kit. It's because it's the best thing that works. Australia has been pretty much top notch with everything. I mostly deal with like PRP. I do a lot of work with like Frenchie's Performance. And then for America, we have a lot of options. Some are good, some are bad. I just go with the ones that work. I think Australia is probably on the higher tier of overall quality. Haltech, probably right now the best engine protection out of any standalone ECU you can have. Mainline, this is the best thing I've ever bought. I'll never go back to anything else. My God, what a good dyno. Consistent, it's always the same. Most popular package is probably what we call our 600 horsepower package. Basic rebuild and enough to make a extremely streetable 600 horsepower car. There's a couple diehard guys that really want to make power. Ever since it became public, I'm hearing more chats within my customer group and even some of the people in the community where they're like, oh man, if I'm gonna go to GTR Festival, I gotta at least be pushing 800 or not, you know, now we're talking, you know, now like the 6.7 isn't enough, you know? Everybody's asking for what's the next level to go. I do have to warn people, once you start creeping towards those 4 digits, get ready, because they break. I think GTR Festival is probably gonna get some people hyped up on that idea. Go to GTR Festival, you know, they see these things, they see your car, they see some of the crazy Australian stuff, and they're like, okay, so this is what happens if I take my time, think about what I want to do, and put the effort in. So this is our customer Hector, R34 GTR. He came to me, I want about 600 to 700 horsepower. Nitto 2.8 rotating assembly. Head is our old setup before we went shimless. This is what we call our mini shim setup. Cams on this is a V-cam step 2 with a step 1 272 in the exhaust. Turbos, it is a Garrett GTX 2867. Intake is a Plasma Man, full Haltech package. It actually has a Frenchie's Performance Garage twin pump setup in the rear, PRP brace, PRP trigger kit, PRP coils, the essentials, yeah. In any gear, I can give this car gas at 2,000 RPM and it just goes. That's our first attempt at a step 0 HKS stroker kit. It's definitely more tailored to the smaller turbos, just because it's a more lightweight crank. It's a little bit lower compression that we're used to. FIC, Fuel Injector Clinic injectors, with their 1200 series is kind of our go-to. It's enough injector there on 85 for 700 horsepower. Full Haltech package, Elite 2500, Garrett 2860s. That's kind of our go-to for anyone that has the 600 horsepower mindset. I found the 2860 combo is perfect. Okay, that's Chris's. Yeah, that's a fun car. That's a super fun car. We ended up having Boomslang make us a custom harness that allowed us to run an Elite with the factory ECUs to keep the transmission happy. We turned up the boost, put on 85, made some power with it, transmission blew up. So he's like, well, there's really no upgrade to these Nissan transmissions, but I've heard the Supra transmissions are really good. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if we can adapt it. He's like, no. I don't want to adapt the transmission. I want to adapt the engine. So I go pick up a half cut from Aristo, you know, so VVTi 2J with, you know, an A340 in it. That's what that's got. Head's built up. We haven't wound it up all the way. Right now, I think it's making like 5. So we're going to try to shoot up for 7 and see if it holds. We don't know, we're kind of experimenting with it. In that car, they're not all the same. There's linkages attached to the brake pedal and the accelerator. If you try to drive out your feet, your knee's always gonna hit something, so it's better just to keep your right foot tucked in. But yeah, anyone can drive it. So I've been in this car for a while. The owner, Johnny, who may or may not be the craziest human being on the face of this planet, has this desire to go fast. At the time, the car had gone 280 something miles an hour. He says, I want to go 300. We get together with him and we come up with a plan to go 300. The basis of it was already set up. I kind of helped make some background changes that alleviated some of the issues they were having before, and we ended up going 310, which is just over 500 kilometers an hour. So everyone's happy, we're cheering, we're drinking, we're having a good time. He goes, well, now I want to go 330. There's just so many variables that have to be, the smallest thing, and it just makes it or breaks it. If you ever see the videos of the runs, the second the car takes off, paramedics behind it, a scuba team, because there's water at the track, you know, there's all these precautions. The car has to immediately be torn apart, checked for fire. It always catches on fire, by the way. Yes, there's a lot of cars that at the quarter mile or the standing mile, you know, making 2,500 horsepower. Not all of them have to hold that for 35, 40 seconds. And we made it work. I think it's the unofficial, but that is technically the world's fastest street car. The day we went to do this, we had no idea it was going to work. Now we know the formula works. So the next time it goes out, those hoops will be jumped through to make it official. Yeah, I was going to put a big R decal on it, so it finishes it. So this will be a Ford GTR coming to the, at SEMA. Yeah, it'll be at SEMA. Yeah.
And then surprise.
Yeah, and then I'm going to put a big R on it, and then it might be a surprise Ford GTR showing up at GTR Festival. We'll see.
The Platinum Racing Products GTR Festival, presented by Pennzoil, HKS USA, Cars from Japan and Modi Video, is heading to the USA on November 15th through 17th at Texas Motorplex. Full info, entries and tickets available at gtrfestival.com.